Oh, it got really quiet when he pulled that gun out. And then all you heard was click, 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 click around the table because everybody's hideaway came out, and now the guy's staring down the muzzle of half a dozen guns. Pulls the trigger and it goes click, and he goes, oh no, not a boom. This thing blows up right in his hands.
No.
Like phosphorus is now like 50 feet in the air. And I'm running. Everybody's running in all directions.
Good morning, Vietnam.
I'm really excited today to get to sit down with Brew here. For those who haven't heard of him, it's Robert Brew Taylor, and we decided to do things a little different today. We usually Brew usually has his camera switched off for interviews and stuff, so we thought, why not just do this in the game? Brew, you've played our game like quite a bit. I think I met you at SOAR, and you had come over and wanted to get set up with the game on the first year that I met you. So it's pretty cool to have you here.
Yeah, it's really neat to be here. I mean, I love this game. I haven't had a chance to play it lately. A lot of circumstances got in the way, but I'm planning on getting back into it again.
Yeah, awesome.
Just an interesting sidebar. Many years ago, I forget how it happened, but I was talking to a programmer out of Poland.
Okay.
And they mentioned to me that they knew reenactors in Poland doing SOG reenactments. It blew me away. I'm going, what? Because at that time, not many people knew about SOG. It was, nobody knew about it really for about 20 years. Mm-hmm. It was just starting to come out. It was after Foster's first books.
Yeah.
And to hear that there's a bunch of reenactors in Poland, of all places, reenacting SOG stuff. And then I talked to this programmer, and I thought, well, it'd be neat if they had a SOG game.
Yeah.
And then years later, here come you guys. I mean, a decade later, probably, that you came on the scene. And what you've done is just blowing me away. It really has. It's been amazing to see, and to see the evolution of it.
Yeah. I mean, thanks so much, Brew, and I know that's the entire team. That means the world to them when you, say that kind of thing. And it has for me too. Like, I joined in 2020 or maybe 2019. At that time, I was just a volunteer with the team, and just getting to see it evolve from like the start of when I joined the team, which was several years into development already, to the product we released 3 years later in 21, and then since then too, it's just been so cool. And then to have you guys join and hang with us, we've had actually quite a few vets come and hang with us from Vietnam, so it's really awesome. And for those who haven't played the game, right now we're sitting in the Recon Bar at CCN, our miniature version of CCN. Obviously, we can't create the entirety of Vietnam, so we put it down to a scaled version, but we wanted to get something that's somewhat like CCN here. I'm guessing this Recon Bar is probably nothing like what you guys actually had, but it's something to, give people an idea of what it might have been like, type thing.
Well, actually, it's not that far off.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, basically, you had the bar there, like we have on the right.
Yeah.
Kind of the long bar. I went over to the corner there, and then just a bunch of tables.
Yeah.
And very basic. It was maybe about this size, really.
Sure.
It wasn't that big.
Yeah. Did you guys have a jukebox or anything, or like how did you get music in there?
I think that was actually on an 8-track.
Oh yeah, okay. So probably some pirated stuff or stuff people got from home type thing.
Yeah, that kind of stuff. Music wasn't a big thing then. It was.
Oh yeah.
the Recon Bar, it was like the nerve center of Recon.
Sure.
Okay, it was a unique place because on one hand it was our classroom, because we would sit around here and talk missions, and the what we talk about is what did you do and what did they do, what did they do, what was your reaction, you know. So we're always trying to scope out what the enemy's tactics and techniques are against us, and then what our counters are going to be against them.
Yeah.
And this is where some of the wildest ideas in the world ever came about here.
Sure.
And there was plenty of them, believe me. I mean, you know, it's amazing what you can think of after you've had about a half a dozen drinks. and the problem was that the next day, then that idea hadn't gone away.
Yeah.
Yeah, and people were always dreaming up stuff. I mean, whether it be the newest booby-trapped idea or the latest, you know, like, why don't we capture a truck and drive it down the trail?
Yeah.
That was Pat Eddington. He wanted to do that.
Oh, my God. Just drive it straight out, like try and drive it back or what?
Well, just go down the trail like you're a part of the deal.
Oh, yeah, yeah, okay.
And then, you know, find out just no one would ever expect you to be in that truck.
Yeah, I guess not.
So, you know, guys are always innovating. I mean, this is the one thing that made SOG probably so unique. And I have to give credit for the early SOG commander because they set some foundational things in SOG that allowed us to be who we were. First of all, one of the rules was the 1-0 is in charge. And up until Donahue, anyway. So the deal was that if the 1-0 called the mission off, the mission was off. If the 1-0 said we don't insert here, you don't insert there. Nobody overrules the 1-0 on the mission.
Yeah.
That includes the colonel.
Yeah.
Okay? That was one of the fundamental rules at the beginning. Donahue overrode us several times to the detriment of the guys on the ground, and he got quite a few people killed that way. Because you have to trust the guy running the mission.
Sure.
Especially on these kinds of missions. You can't micromanage people. And this is something that later in Afghanistan and Iraq, I hear the complaints from the guys. Because command and control got so good, you think they're flying over in a drone and looking at the ground that they can tell the people on the ground what to do.
Sure.
All the while ignoring what's actually happening on the ground, which is what the 1-0 knows.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was one of the things. And the other one was we had complete freedom to run the mission any way you wanted to run it. So if that meant doing something unusual, well, then they just did something unusual and find out if it worked or not.
Sure.
And so a lot of things were born out of that. Excuse me.
That's all good.
So another example of that was Cisco. Cisco was our James Bond spy device headquarters.
The counterinsurgency support office, right?
Yep. And Ben, what was Ben's last name? I can't remember now.
God, he's in Dick's book. I can't remember.
Ben was, I forgot his name now.
Yeah.
Ben was the funniest guy alive, I'll tell you.
Oh, yeah?
But he was always dreaming up stuff. And we had, one of the things they dreamed up was this thing called the Nightingale device.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that one.
Yeah, it was an amazing thing. It was basically a bunch of firecrackers. It was built on a board, about 2 feet by 2 feet, and it had varying sounds, and it sounded like a firefight.
Yeah.
and it would go on for like 4 or 5 minutes.
Sure.
And that device that turned into be quite an interesting device for us, because what we used it for, sometimes we do a false insertion, meaning the helicopters would come into a landing zone, just do a touch and go, and then they go over to another LZ, do the same thing. And one of the 2 or 3 LZs that we'd touch and go at, we'd actually get off.
Yeah, which is still practiced today in terms of air assault, false LZs.
Yeah. Well, we had one better, because with this Nightingale, we'd drop off the Nightingale in one of these things, and at the same time we'd do some false radio traffic.
Sure. Because they're listening, the NVA are listening to you guys.
That's right. In fact, they had some very sophisticated equipment supplied by the Russians for that.
I had heard that even you guys' encrypted comms were compromised.
That's right.
Yeah, which is terrifying. I mean, that pretty much just negates the whole purpose of carrying that KY-38 in the first place.
Yeah, exactly.
So the Nightingale would then, I'm guessing you just toss it out the door of the helicopter, and then it's going off for a good, how long? 5-10 minutes?
Yeah.
5-10 minutes, and you gotta, I guess for our listeners, understand that the communications of the enemy at the time, of the North Vietnamese, were not, they didn't have radios just in every single element, so they couldn't, when they're hearing this going off, it's hard for them to just disseminate the word out that, hey, this isn't actually a firefight going on.
Exactly. So that worked to our advantage.
Sure. Did you guys ever use it for anything else? I heard of one team that had carried one into an enemy camp and set it off and caused a huge NVA on NVA firefight or something like that.
I wouldn't be surprised. Like I said, after a couple drinks in the club, you get really creative.
Right. Oh, man. Well, we came in here yesterday, started the mission. Just like today, you start with your weapon drawn by default in Arma. You want to tell the story about the Marine Corps pilot?
Yeah. Yeah, one of my favorite stories in the club. Well, we were having the first Marine Air Wing was pulling out of Vietnam. So Scarface, I think it's HML 367 or something like that, was our support in the Southern AO. Marine guns are great guys. They really were.
Yeah.
Little known fact, they were the only instrument-rated helicopter pilots we had.
Oh, I had heard that. I think Barry Pensek, if I remember right, talks about that in his SOGcast with Tilt. Yeah.
So these guys, they're pulling out. So they flew the last mission for us. So we had a going away party for them.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, everybody that was not out on the mission recon, and these guys came in. And so I happened to be sitting next to the CO of the Scarface Major. And as the evening wore on, they had a new guy with them. You could tell he was a new guy because he had the high, tight haircut right out of the basic,
right.
And he was wearing a 45 on his hip. Well, during the course of events, we're doing one of our favorite pastimes, which is ranking on Marine grunts. And we were joined by several of the pilots. Well, this guy got highly offended. I mean, after all, he just out of basic. He'd been through the indoctrination course.
Yeah.
Marines are the greatest thing since peanut butter.
Right.
So he jumps up and draws his 45.
Oh, boy.
Well, I have to tell you something. everybody in Recon Company was armed all the time.
Oh yeah.
Like I carried a snub-nose 38.
And is
And
that
it was a Colt Cobra airweight. It was a
sure?
duraluminum frame, very light. And if in the jungle, in the 107s, you had it, cargo pockets.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in the right cargo pocket inside, you had another pocket. And this 38 fit inside that inner pocket, and it had a button snap on it. It went perfectly over the hammer. And I carried that thing. You couldn't tell I was carrying it because it was hidden by the cargo pocket, you know.
You're talking the right pants pocket, right?
Yeah,
on the
right.
right side.
Yeah.
Because
right
today they
pocket.
have modern Army uniforms. There's a little like I'm trying to remember if it's the right side or the left side, but there is a little like slit underneath the cargo pocket. It doesn't have a button on it, but it's interesting that carried over in some form at least.
Yeah. So I carried that in that little inside pocket, you know.
Yeah.
Well, everybody in Recon has a hideaway,
Yeah.
especially if we're going downtown or whatever, you know.
Oh sure. Which would have been Da Nang.
Yeah, delaying. So, it got really quiet when he pulled that gun out. And then all you heard was click, 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 click around the table because everybody's hideaway came out, and now the guy's staring down the muzzle of half a dozen guns, you know?
Oh
So,
boy.
the guy in charge of the club comes over, real smooth talking, kind of slow draw kind of guy, you know?
Yeah.
Comes over and he goes, son, I don't really think you're going to need that gun while you're in our club. Why don't you just give it to me and let me take care of it till you leave?
Oh man. Such a well-spoken way to say that.
Yeah. And of course, his eyes are really big at that point because he thought he was the only armed guy in the club.
Yeah. I guess he thought wrong on that one.
So the CO sent him out to the Deuce and a Half, and he became the designated driver that night.
So this guy was a new. His
new replacement just come in from the States.
And he was a Marine.
He was a Marine.
Got it. That's. Oh boy.
So I will say that we got Scarface and he walking, hanging on your toes, drunk that night.
Oh.
And we
man.
actually carried them out and physically carried them out and put them in the back of their Deuce and a Half. All of them. Except for designated drivers. A good thing he was a designated driver because otherwise we'd have to send one of ours with him.
Yeah.
So we sent him back. So the next morning, Recon's out doing, we have to do PT every morning.
Mm-hmm.
So we're out doing PT and these guys fly over us. And these helicopters, I mean, this is literally, the helicopters are wobbling like 3 or 4 feet as they fly over us. And I'm thinking, God, I'm glad I don't have to call them for close air support today because within 100 meters would be good for these guys.
It's an area effect weapon.
Yeah, they were area denial that day, not close air support.
Oh man, that's great. Wow. Yeah, just carried over from a good night. And you said that was during their like send off, kind of when they were getting ready to rotate out.
They were going to support Marines for a couple more days, and then they were gone.
Yeah, so that was their send off from you guys.
That was our send off from CCN.
Carrying them out the door.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. Oh,
I will say that I was sitting next to the commander, the CO, that night, and he said the nicest thing about us I ever heard a Marine say.
Okay.
He said, well, the other day I was over at the Officers Club, and the CO of the Force Field Recon was going, woof, 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 woof. He said, finally, I said, I'd had enough. So I told him, I said, look, I work with guys every day to make you look like a bunch of Boy Scouts. You never even get out of your own backyard.
Oh, boy.
I heard that, and I was like, whoa. You know, I was surprised. And I have to say, I appreciated it.
Yeah, that's
always nice to know you get recognized for something.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, you guys were the best of the best at the time. I mean, I don't think there was any other place that. Well, yeah, there definitely wasn't any other place doing anything like you guys were.
No, and that's kind of why I went there.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of us went there because when people tell you don't do something because it's dangerous,
I've heard this one before.
you kind of think, well, what's that?
Yeah,
Sounds like something I should be doing.
yeah. Dick always talks about the prefrontal cortex not being fully developed by that time.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And I relate to it too. It's like in my late 20s, I'm almost 30 now. I have a much greater sense of self-preservation. I mean, I never did anything like you guys, but like just some of the stuff you do in the military, it's like, what the hell were we thinking? Like,
Yeah, exactly.
But
Well, it's interesting that I think the greatest thing that was said was I believe it was Colonel Apt, Commander of CCC, said it once. The guy asked him, "Well, one of the commanders asked him, well, how do you find these people?"
Hmm.
And he said, "You don't. They find you."
Oh, yeah.
And that's
There
kind
is
of
a
actually
snake
how it works.
right now going out the door. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Sorry. Do you guys ever have any snakes end up in the Recon Bar?
No, I can't say that it did. I don't like snakes to begin with.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't see any out there. I guess if you move slow enough and do the right kind of noise, they generally get out of your way.
Yeah. Yeah.
The only time I had trouble with snakes is in Thailand.
Okay.
I killed one right in my front door one time with a machete.
Was this when you were
green
there?
Vipers.
This when you were there around Christmas time?
No, this is a few years back when I was living there.
Oh, okay. This is in modern day.
Yeah.
And
Thailand's got a lot of snakes.
Yeah.
Laos does too, but they tend to hide.
Sure. So this one was like right outside your door?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
I just had this, sometimes your little senses perk up.
Yeah.
I had a little sense there was something wrong, and I had two machetes, and I come around the other side, and there's this green pit viper right in front of my door, so I just took his head off.
Yeah. Oh boy. Jesus. Yeah, not something you want to walk past by mistake. That's for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
But that sense you develop, Dick talks about it as like a spidey sense, like I'm sure you.
Well, it's pretty amazing, actually.
Yeah.
You got to where you could feel them.
Yeah.
NBA, and you knew what they were doing to you,
Yeah.
And one of the problems in this, to me, I just talk a little bit about team stuff for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
I never liked having a third American, and I didn't like strap hangers. And the reason for it wasn't that I didn't like Americans or anything like that, but
Mm-hmm.
to me, the ideal recon team was 6 men.
Small.
Yeah, because 4 men you can't fight, and because if you get one wounded, you're out of action. You got to stay and fight because you can't carry the guy.
Sure.
You carry the guy, you're left with one guy shooting and 2 guys carrying, and one wounded guy. So that's not working.
Mm-hmm.
With 6 men, if you have one guy wounded, you still got 3 guys fighting. 3 guys can put out quite a bit of firepower. You got 1 fire team. If you're fire maneuvering, you got 2 fire teams,
Mm-hmm.
3 men each. Okay. 6 men, you can hide tracks.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now here's what most people don't think about. People wonder why we move so slow. Okay. Part of the reasons why we move slow. When we slow, I mean we're covering less than a kilometer a day.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And the reason is we're covering our own tracks.
Mm-hmm.
So me and the tail gunner, I was the 1-1.
Mm-hmm.
So my job was to cover the tail gunner and assist him, and he and I walked backwards the entire mission.
Wow, you're literally walking backwards.
Yes.
How'd
And
you?
we're moving plants and stuff back into position.
Yeah.
And he's carefully covering tracks, picking up broken leaves and stuff, you know.
Yeah.
And I always said I could walk across your front yard with the recon team, and I get out on the other side, and you couldn't find us where we'd been.
Wow.
Because this is what the Brew were really good at.
Yeah.
Okay. Because they lived in the jungles, and they were on to small nuances, you know.
Yeah.
And my tail gunner
Fieldcraft.
came from Laos, and he'd been forced by the North Vietnamese to work on the roads, and he escaped. And he always told me, he says, "I'll die before I go back."
Wow.
So he had a lot of incentive to do good. You know what I'm saying?
So he had actually worked on the Ho Chi Minh Trail before he
Yes.
became your commando.
Yeah.
Wow.
He was forced to work there.
Yeah. Well,
So
yeah.
you can imagine we're bombing it, and he's being forced by the North Vietnamese to work on it,
Sure.
which makes him a target.
And I'd guess
So-
that just meant that the North Vietnamese got to his village before anybody
right.
else could, or captured him,
Yep.
and, you know, something like
Yep.
that.
A lot of Brew were in that position.
Sure. Can you give us
The
a
ones
little
in Laos.
background on the Brew? Because you know, obviously, if for people who haven't listened to Brew's SOGcast, I believe it's SOGcast, what, 56 or something like that?
Yeah, I don't remember.
And also, Bud Gibson had him on the Reconnaissance cast as well. He talks a lot about his own stories. Today we're kind of just reminiscing about, you know, other people and different stories from around CCN at the time and around the war and the yards and stuff like that. But your explanation of kind of the history of the Brew is very critical and interesting insight that I think people would appreciate on that, kind of how they became to be and how their place in society evolved from the from hundreds or thousands of years ago to kind of the more closer to modern times during the Vietnam War.
Okay, well, what we call the Montagnards, which is a French word for mountain people,
Mm-hmm.
and then of course, being Americans, we had to shorten that. We called them just yards.
Yeah.
There are actually two distinctly separate ethnic groups of people. The first group, which were they were Malay Polynesians. In other words, they're related to the Filipinos, the Indonesian, the Hawaiians, people out in Fiji. These ocean travelers who came over probably from the area around India, that populated all the islands across the Pacific, and starting from Malaysia eastward.
Yeah. Yep.
So that group was a Rade, Jirai, Rod, and the Ray. Okay, those people were in southern South Vietnam.
Okay.
Okay, and then the second group, which were completely different. Now the language family was completely different. The cultures were completely different. Okay, like the Malay Polynesian lived in longhouses. Multifamily longhouses, okay.
Similar to other Polynesian cultures.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Brew and the other Mon Khmer groups always lived in individual houses, okay. Single family units, generally, okay.
Yeah.
So the second group is a Mon Khmer group. So there was a great empire, the Khmer Empire, that stretched from Burma all the way across to what is northern Vietnam and about up to Luang Prabang and Laos, all the way down through Cambodia, Thailand, down to the Malaysian border.
Yeah.
So this empire ruled for quite a long time, and it was really a Hindu-based kind of system. And Angkor Wat, which a lot of people hear about, was one of their main temple complexes. And they were also noted for their work with stone. They made a lot of stone temples. And they ruled for a long, long time. Well, that empire eventually broke up. And at the time it's breaking up internally, there's a new wave of immigration coming from the north. So it's coming down river valleys. So on the west side, you had the Burmese coming out of Tibet, Tibeto-Burman people, out of southern China. They're coming from Tibet down through southern China, and they're following the river valleys down. And then you have the Lao coming out of Sipsong Panao, or what is today Yunnan province. And then on the east side, coming out of the Quan Chau area, you had the Vietnamese.
Mm-hmm.
So these all follow down the river valleys, and they get down in these, of course, they're out of a kind of a mountainous region, and they're coming down into these plains that are just wonderful for growing rice and stuff.
Yeah.
And so they begin to move in, putting pressure against this empire. And eventually they took over the lowland rice growing areas and forced the remnants of these empires up into the mountains, where they were isolated from each other and isolated from others in their group. And this is where the Mon Khmer hill tribes came from.
Yeah. So originally, those hill tribes, what became the Bru and others, were rice farmers and lowland peoples.
And lowland people.
Yeah.
And the Bru, they live in kind of a belt that goes from the area around Quang Tri, north of Quang Tri, west through all the way through Khe Sanh area of Vietnam, and then the DMZ area, actually. And then because there's a valley that goes across through there, it goes into what's called Highway 9, which is an east-west highway running from the Lao border at Khe Sanh over to Savannakhet province. And then some of them further went into Thailand. There was a bunch of them around the lake in Sakornakorn. In fact,
interesting. In
1969, I was at NKP launch site, and they had a girl there they called Bru. And I said, "Why do you call her Bru?" Because she's Bru. So I went and talked to her.
Oh, man.
And we could converse the loan words, because there are words like, for, let's say, watch. There was no watch word in Bru. So in Thailand, they use the Thai word, and in Vietnam, they use the Vietnam word.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So these loan words were different, but she and I could converse. So, and I spoke a dialect of Bru called Tree, which is a dialect around Khe Sanh, and she also spoke Tree. So we were speaking the same dialect of Bru. So
God, that's cool.
These had migrated into Thailand. And over in Bangladesh, there's the Bru tribe. Now, their language had changed a lot over time. But if you look at the clothes and the housing, which are kind of key ethnic markers, the style of clothes and some of the traditions they have, these are Bru. But these were probably soldiers of the empire, stuck out there. And then as these people came down from the north, fractured them, and they went further west rather than east.
Yeah. Oh, God, that's wild. That's so interesting, Bru. You could teach a whole course on this at a local university or something like that. It would be amazing. Because I know that the Micronesian, Polynesian, and Melanesian cultures very similarly, it's scattered all across the Pacific, and you still had, like the difference between the native Hawaiians and the Maori tribes in Aotearoa are like, they still have some words that are the same. They come from the same place originally, but it's just wild. I love that concept. It's so fascinating.
Well, one of the interesting things about languages is you would think that language would consolidate after a while, but it's actually not true. Language, if you take groups and develop them in isolation from each other, they will eventually evolve their language one way or another.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's through exposure to another language, or just slang that gets caught on and becomes part of their language.
Yeah.
So This is what happened to several of the Montagnard languages, and like you say, the Polynesian languages,
Mm-hmm.
because as they're isolated, they kind of develop a little bit on their own, you know.
Sure.
And they retain some same features, but they do change.
So when you were, so how many of those hill tribe type peoples of the yards, like the brew, what others, were there any others that shared close language characteristics to the brew, or were they all pretty unique because of that isolation?
Well, actually, even in the brew, there's difference in dialect.
Really?
There's brew Katang.
Okay.
So the Katang, which if you read about the early French involvement in Laos,
Mm-hmm.
you hear they recruited Katang,
Mm-hmm.
which are brew. What the brew say about the Katang is they have a little bit more Lao in their language.
Okay.
So the Katang were more central Laos, so they're actually interfacing more directly with the Lao at that time. And then you have Brew Mekong, which is they're farther south than the guys in, say, Sapone and Highway 9 area, closer to the Taoy area. So the Taoy are another Montagnard tribe. Actually, they were a pretty fierce tribe and traditional enemies of the Brew in the past.
I think
And their
I remember you
language is
talking
similar,
about this
but
at SOAR.
yeah, they're a little. Their language is similar, but they have some differences, and some words you can recognize as being the same or almost the same.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there are most of the Mon-Khmer languages have some similarities.
Sure.
When I first got back to Thailand, I was looking for the brew again in Thailand, and I came across a dictionary done by a student at Chulalongkorn University, and there was a village called Bon Vuonberg. Bon Vuonberg it was inside Thailand, but if you look at the Mekong River, which basically serves as a border between Thailand and Laos,
Mm-hmm.
there's a point which the Mekong River turns and then goes into Laos, and the land border crosses the Mekong at that point. And right at where that crossing point is, there's a brew village. And at the time I went there, the only way you could get there was go to the nearest road, which was about an hour's boat ride away. Get in a boat, take a boat down there for about an hour to visit the village, which I did. And the interesting thing that was happening in that village is Mon-Khmer is a non-tonal language, whereas Thai, Lao, Burmese are all tonal languages, meaning tone differentiate the word. Okay.
Okay, so like you could have a word that's spelled the same.
Exactly the same.
And it's different depending on how you say it.
Yeah, depending on if it's high or low, you say pie,
Mhm.
pie. Those are
Okay.
two different words. Okay.
Yeah. All right.
We'd almost think of it like intonation changing, you know. But to us, intonation wouldn't change the word, only the emphasis of the word. But
Sure.
in Chinese and other tonal languages, that change of that tone and intonation changes the meaning of the word.
It's got to make it really challenging to learn.
It is if you're non-tonal, like I was.
Yeah. I suppose,
So-
yeah, if you're not brought up with that kind of language.
Yeah, exactly. And if your ears have a little trouble recognizing tone,
If you're tone
then you have
deaf.
a problem. They're tone deaf, yeah. But here's the other thing: the complexity of Mon-Khmer is not in the tone; it's in the vowels.
Okay.
The Brew language has, depending on who you talk to, between 44 and 49 vowel sounds.
Oh my God. How's
Yeah.
that even possible?
You begin to wonder. See, every language has a complexity
Yeah.
that's unique to that language, but they're all equally complex.
Sure.
Okay. So anyway, this village had begun to change the language to begin to be tonal in some respects
Okay.
because of their interfacing with Thai all the time, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. So they had adopted characteristics from.
Exactly.
The
So
Thai.
language always changes, and it changes in that manner, you know?
Yeah. Wow.
It assimilates things around it.
Yeah. God, that's so fascinating. So Brew, can you give us like kind of a overview of how your perceptions of the brew and the yards overall were formed as you entered, this world of SOG and Recon? How did you get introduced to them for the first time, and what were some of the main things you noticed about them? And what was that like?
Well, when I got to CCN, I volunteered to go in the Hatchet Force. And we were given it at that time. It's interesting as you go, whoever you talk to and whatever period you're in at CCN or anywhere in SOG, things change all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So a guy said, well, this was what happened to me at that time. And the other guy goes, well, that never happened in my time,
Yeah, yeah.
And some people even got all hot, say, well, you're a liar, because then, that isn't how it was done,
Mm-hmm.
And truth is, it changed all the time. It's like, give you an example, the combat orientation course. This is a course run by 5th Group. So when you first got to 5th Group, they put you through this, I forget what it was. It was like a 7 or 9 day training course. You went out to Entree Island, huck you up and down the hill. You got introduced to stuff just to get you acclimatized to Vietnam.
Your in-country training, is that what people usually call it?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. And part of that was, you learn to call airstrikes and work with Covey and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So when I got there, they told us, everybody had orders for SOG at the time. You guys don't go through this course because SOG's got their own training course.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, my training course was run by the NBA.
Right.
But what had happened was they were so desperate for people at that time.
Yeah.
That they just bypassed the course and just sent us straight into SOG.
Oh my God.
The guys that went before us and afterwards all went to a COC.
Yeah. So it was just during that specific time, and it was late '69 that you got there?
Yeah, I got there in late August '69. I think August 29th I got up to CCN.
Yeah.
So I get up to CCN, and at that time, when they gave us a debrief, and that was always that first briefing. Anybody will tell you the first briefing just kind of stops your heart for a minute, because they, I remember, I can't remember if it was a sergeant major or the major who gave the briefing that day, but
okay.
he's standing in front of this map with a black curtain over it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, well, I'm just here to tell you that all those rumors you heard about us is true. Pulls back that map cover. And you're looking at these outlines, base area 610, 611, 612. Everything's in Laos.
Mm-hmm.
And you're looking at that map and you're going, oh boy, what have I done?
Yeah.
And so that day we were given a choice, because first of all, on the orders, I got to tell you how I got to CCN to begin with. I've mentioned this in another interview, but I was in 6th Group, and my team sergeant had just returned from SOG. He was at CCN. And he was telling me about going out and discovering armor tracks, and reporting them, and they didn't believe them, and elephants carrying artillery pieces. Nobody believed him,
Yeah.
He didn't tell me where this was. He just said around Quezon,
Okay.
So when I got ready to go to Vietnam, he said, I think you'd do pretty good in SOG. He said, so he drew me a map, showed me where the SOG liaison office was, and he said, if they give you any problem, just tell me when to go to NKP. I said, what's NKP? He says, you don't need to know.
Yeah.
I go, okay. So I go in SOG liaison office. I tell them I want to go to SOG. And the reason was, I knew that SOG, where CCN was, they were in the mountains. I couldn't swim.
Ah, yeah.
I didn't want to go down to Orpor.
Yep. You want to be in the Delta or anything.
No, I wanted to be up in the mountains because I knew I wasn't going to deal with anything over about knee-high water.
Yeah.
So I go in there and tell this guy I want to go to CCN. He gives me one of these Yale kid things, Yeah, kid, yeah, right. So I told him, well, actually, I want to go to NKP. Boy, he flew out of that chair, come around the corner, come back. He says, good thing my secretary just went to lunch or you go to jail. And I'm going, whoa, what's that?
Ooh.
So the orders come down, right? I'm the only volunteer in the orders. Everybody else that says EM is assigned against a non-volunteer vacancy. Basically, what that means is that they couldn't force you to run recon.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? The recon and Hatchet force for volunteers. So if you were a non-volunteer vacancy, you weren't sitting across the border unless you desired to go there.
So you'd be more like a security force or
security, commo, whatever,
yeah.
whatever they needed
support.
somewhere, launch site, anything but across the border.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, that's how I got there. So I volunteered to go in the Hatchet force. Now later on, guys said they never had a chance to do that, but at that time we had a choice between recon and Hatchet force.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided to go to Hatchet force because I'm thinking I'm not experienced enough yet to go on a recon team.
So you want
I
to
just
be
come
with
out
a bigger contingent of guys so you can get your feet wet.
so I can get my feet
or not.
wet. Or not, yeah.
Ideally,
So I
not.
go down to company and I find out that we're going out in 8 days.
So
now,
you got no in-country training at this point. You haven't gone through 1-0 school.
Yeah, nothing.
You just through, your Q course.
And everybody in my platoon is in the same position. None of us have been in Laos.
Wow.
Okay, so what happened was that Lieutenant, later Captain Bartlett, was the platoon leader.
Captain who now?
Bartlett.
Bartlett. Okay.
John Bartlett. He had an interesting beginning. He went to the instant NCO school. Then he went to OCS. Then he went to SF training and then came over to SOG. So he'd been through some good Army schools, leadership schools. So he'd been there about a week before I was. Everybody else in my platoon, okay, we had one guy that had combat experience at that time, which was Sergeant First Class Eli. He'd been in Vietnam before, but he'd never been in SOG before.
Okay.
So at that time, Pat Smith, who was assigned to our platoon, but Pat had been in recon. But Pat was supposed to go in R&R. And Pat said, and he was my roommate at the time.
Mm-hmm.
He said, I can't let you guys go out like this.
Yeah.
So he gave up his R&R to go out, and he actually mentored Lieutenant Bartlett on this mission. He called the air, and he was by Bartlett's side the entire time.
Wow. That's a hell of a guy right there.
Yeah. So our mission was we went into the Salient, what we call the Salient area, which is there's a place just below Quezon where the Laos kind of jets into Vietnam. It's a place called Muang Nong. And our job, we're going to do a 4-platoon operation. So each platoon would stay on the ground for 1 week. And so one platoon would insert one and then stay in a week, and then as they're exfilling, the new platoon would infill. And so we had a continuous presence on the ground there for a month, just disrupting things.
Sure.
So we were the first platoon to come in.
Okay.
So I remember we made contact 7 times in 6 days.
All right. Damn.
And about day 3, we had to get resupplied with ammo. Now, fortunately, this was, number one, it wasn't heavy contact because they were still trying to react to us being in there.
Sure.
And the longer we were in there, the more reaction we got. But we had just enough. It was a good first mission to learn things,
Yeah. Was this a place that Recon had ever been sent before, or Hatchet Forces had ever been sent?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense given the kind of geography of it.
Yeah. So during that time, I carried the KY-38, which didn't work the entire time.
that, like,
And I'm
didn't
never ever
work
worked.
once.
Not once.
Classic. Oh,
I was
man.
so upset with that radio.
Oh, I've heard that
And
from so many people.
I'm begging the lieutenant, let me blow this thing up. You know,
This
'cause it
sounds
was just
familiar.
so worthless.
Yeah.
So anyway, we got some intel out of it. We found a big troop holding area down there. Ran into a cell team that was probably a prelude to a large unit moving into it. And anyway, like I said, it was a good first mission.
What would a cell team be?
It was a three-man team that generally went into these base camps.
Yeah.
Because these base camps were facilities that they moved in and out of as they're moving units down trail.
Mm-hmm.
So these cell teams would go in ahead of time, make sure the area was clear, just kind of sort things out a little bit, and maybe, get things ready for the troops that are moving into them.
Yeah. And how many people?
Three.
Just
generally
3 people.
Yeah.
Wow. That's
They were like an advanced party. Well, it was their area. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
They weren't expecting anybody.
I guess that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, before we went out there, I'm looking around. So our situation was this: there was 2 interpreters assigned to the platoon.
Mm-hmm.
One interpreter was a Vietnamese who translated from English to Vietnamese.
Oh, man.
And the second interpreter was a brew who translated from Vietnamese to brew. So I'm a squad leader. Okay, I got a squad of brew. So we have 4 squad leaders: Lieutenant, Eli, Pat is like the command thing, and we got a medic.
Yeah.
So if I'm at the back of the column and something happens, I'm not getting an interpreter.
Yeah. Yeah.
I got to deal with this myself. And so what I did is I got my notebook and I went down and lived with them for the next week. Just to get
Hooches or in the village?
Down at the village in the Hooches.
In the Hooches.
Yeah. So the guy who actually got me started with a little bit of brew was Harvey Saul. Harvey Saul was he had been in Quezon.
Mm-hmm.
He had actually run Recon, was one of my commo instructors. And so I knew Harvey's name before I got there, so I looked him up, and he kind of clued me in on some of the brew words to get started with. So I went down with my pencil and paper, and I just started to teach me,
Yeah. Yeah.
And just bonding with them, because I have to trust these guys with my life.
Yeah.
And the way you do that is you bond with them. You have to develop a relationship. And so that's what I did. I went down. I stayed with them. I started learning their language. Well, of course, in the process of that, soldiers are soldiers everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
The first words we ever learn in a foreign language can't be repeated in public.
I was guessing that. When I was in Italy, it was the same way.
Yeah, exactly. The Italians would teach you their words first for everything.
Vaffanculo and all this. Yeah.
Yeah.
All that kind of stuff. Sorry for any Italians.
So it was the same with the brew. Only what the brew were teaching me was what to say to the Vietnamese.
Oh, God.
There was no love lost between brew and Vietnamese.
Yep. I've heard this before.
The Vietnamese called them savages and treated them very poorly.
Mm.
Much worse than just to give you an example, the Old South treated black people. They were much worse than that.
God.
So the brew had no love at all for the Vietnamese, and so they taught me how to say all kinds of wonderful things to the Vietnamese.
Yeah. Yeah. Naturally, I guess.
Yeah. So
what did they think of you going in to learn their language like that? How common was that? It had to not been very common.
It wasn't too common, and they were really happy.
Yeah.
That I would take the time to do that, and so in the process of doing all that, right? People started associating me with the brew. So there for a while. After a while, the Americans started calling me Brew, and then the Brew started calling me Brew.
That's great.
So I actually changed my name tag from Taylor to Brew.
Oh, seriously, your name tape on your uniform.
Yeah.
Wow.
So after about November or so of '69, a few people actually knew my real name. Everybody just called me Brew, so I just was Brew.
Oh, that's great.
In fact, I was the first radio operator when we reopened Hickory. We moved our radio relay out of Fuller Fire Support Base, which was a Long Haul Mountain, and we moved it over to Hill 950 at Quezon, which was Hickory. And so when
Which
you make a move
game.
like that, huh?
That's in our game, that Hickory Hill.
Yeah, I think Fuller is too.
Okay.
I want to run up there one day and see what it's like.
Yeah, we can do that. Yeah, and sometime in the next week or so if you want.
Cool. Well, when I get up to Hickory had been a pretty built-up area before. And then when we pulled out of there, they just bombed the whole top of the hill. And then we basically had to start over again, building up sandbags and bunkers and stuff.
Yeah.
So when I got up there wasn't much. They'd had a platoon up there for about a week or two waiting for us. And then because we had to get, in order to move out there, they had to bring up 2 CH-47s and 4 Cobra gunships to move us. Because that was the protocol, because when we were out in that area, it was pretty hot.
Yeah.
So they had to have a second Chinook in case the first one went down. They had to have 4 guns for escorts.
Wow. Yeah, that's a hot area.
Yeah. So the first one, they were scheduled to take us out, and they at the last minute they couldn't do it. So we went to a false day of that, and then the day they showed up, we were having a prairie fire. So we're trying to call into the launch site, to inform them that the CH-47s are there, and to get their official permission to move that day. And they're like, "Don't bother us, we're in a prairie fire." So me and Stevenson, who were up there, were both Spec 4s. We made the command decision, well, we're going.
Yeah.
So we hook up and we go. And so I get on the other side, and the protocol says that when I arrive at the new launch site, I have to authenticate a new call sign. Okay. So to authenticate the call sign, you have to use your code name, which is in the code book. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, my code name was 13.
Oh, okay.
And so I authenticated, this is 13. The guy goes, "Hey, Brew, is that you?" Yeah, okay. All right, we're authenticated.
Nice.
So anyway, after a while, that's kind of what happened. And it was interesting when we first started in Recon, we had to recruit a whole new team. So our interpreter had been on a team that had been wiped out. And so they'd kind of given him a little R&R for a month or so.
Yeah, dang.
And so I go in, I say, okay, I'll go over and talk to him.
Is that
so
ping?
I go in and he's, huh?
Is that ping?
Yeah.
Ping, okay.
So as I went in, he was sleeping face down on his bed, right?
Yeah.
So I go in there and I shake his bed and I go, Tuyung, mushoyala, means get up, you're really lazy. And he cocks his fist, he's going to come up and hit me,
Yeah.
And he looks at me, he goes, "You're not Brew."
Sure you are.
Yeah. So that was kind of the intro for him.
Oh, man.
So I remember months later, he and I are sent up to Mylock, which was a village, a Brew village next to a Vietnamese village up there. Mm-hmm. We had a launch site up there. Mm-hmm. And we're up there to pay the relatives of one of the guys that got killed, a different team. And when we get ready to leave, he says to me, "When we go up to the village, you don't talk Brew. Because the old people don't want to hear the kind of Brew you talk." I said, okay. Well, I got up there and started talking brew anyway, so
Oh, man.
it was a hit, you know.
I don't want to hear the type you talk. That's hilarious. Is that Ping that told you that?
Yeah.
That's great. Oh,
But
man.
you know, when you talk about bonding, one thing that's really important is you always do what you say.
Yeah.
I broke one promise, and I'm still working on keeping that one. But I remember I told my team, if you're right, I'll back you up 100%. But if you're wrong, you have to answer to me.
Mm.
So one day I'm laying there, it's after lunch, and we're doing our Pak time thing. You know, Pak time's 11 to 1. And it's a Vietnamese tradition. You know, you have lunch and then you have a little siesta.
Okay.
And that's really important when you're out moving around in the jungle, by the way. You don't violate that or else you're the only guy moving.
Ah, that makes sense. Yeah. I didn't even think of that, but yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm having a little rest, and when the brew comes running in the room, he goes, Tonsi, I mean Sergeant, right?
Mm-hmm.
Tonsi, get your gun, come now. I go, wow, what's up? You know, I'm thinking NVA's in the wire again or something, you know. So I grab my web gear and grab my weapon. I'm run out after him. Next thing I know, we're standing toe to toe with a Vietnamese recon team.
Ah, okay. Like
And
a
we're
rogue team or something?
Yeah, another all
Oh,
Vietnamese recon team.
A SOG team, but a
SOG team, yeah.
Yeah.
We're standing in front of their hooch,
Mm-hmm.
and we're all locked and loaded.
Oh, boy.
And I go, so I'm there with the team, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm locked and loaded, and I'm looking at these Vietnamese. I'm going, what's the deal? He stole my sunglasses.
Ooh.
He said, oh, okay. So tell the Vietnamese, you're going to give back the sunglasses. You know, we're in a standoff, right?
Yeah.
So pretty soon, here comes the Recon Company CO and the Vietnamese Recon Company CO. Okay? And they're standing off to the side because nobody wants to, like, get in the middle of this deal.
Yeah, of course not.
And telling us to stand down, you know.
Yeah.
So eventually what I did is I told my guys to go back to the hooch. And I'm standing there locked and loaded by myself. And I said, I'm not going to put down my gun until they put down theirs. So I made them put down their guns, and then I put down my gun, and then I turned the whole thing over to them, right?
Yeah.
To get the culprit for us.
Yeah.
But I thought I'm going to get busted for sure for this one, you know.
Oh, man.
But
yeah, you just got to trust your guys.
well, and you got to be there with them, whatever the
Yep.
cost.
Yep.
You know,
or else
and when you do
destroy
that,
their-
you know, it's like I always told my guys, if I get wounded, leave me.
Mm.
I know they never would,
Mhm.
but I wanted to give them that option,
Yeah.
you know.
Wow. That's really something, Brew. Dang. So, like, how did the Brew look at property? Because that must have been a pretty... I've heard of them, like Nick Brockhausen, you know, he talks about getting, as he called it, mugged when you get on a team. They kind of take your stuff and your watch and stuff, and then it belongs to the, you know, the tribe or the team or whatever. How did they look at property, and what was the penalty for stealing or for, you know, somebody outside of the tribe or your team trying to do something like that? Obviously, it looks like it was about to be death there if you hadn't come along.
Well, another time, just to give you an example, one of the Brew liked to look good, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So they're really not a part of the Vietnamese army.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they hired directly by us for us.
Yeah, straight
And
from
actually,
the villages.
our Brew got paid more than a Vietnamese lieutenant.
Wow.
Okay.
Dang.
Yeah. So
Rightfully so, I guess, given what
Yeah.
they were doing.
so they always like to look good when they were going home. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or going downtown or whatever. They wanted to look really spiffy. So they would buy like the Vietnamese camouflage fatigues and boots. You know, here's the
Yeah.
thing. they come to us with these old boots. Tonsi, we need new boots. You give them new boots, and the next thing you know, they're back with these old boots again. So I asked Ping about this when I saw him like 50 years later. Why did you guys do this? What happened to them boots? He said, well, we were poor. So we take the boots home, give them away, you know?
Ah, man.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we were constantly issuing boots. And these guys had big feet because they were used to being barefooted, you know? They grew up barefooted. They didn't get shoes till they worked with us.
Yeah.
So they would take these. So I've seen brew that actually had to slit the sides of the boots so their toe could stick out because their feet were so wide.
Oh my God! Like what size can you estimate? What average size in terms of American boot size they might have had?
They were like a 7 triple E.
Okay. Wow.
You know, I mean, they were wide.
Yeah, just extremely wide. From walking around barefoot, and I'm sure that becomes kind of a genetic, or over many years,
centuries,
generations, becomes a genetic thing.
So anyway, this one brew, he comes back from leave. He's wearing a complete, like a Vietnamese Special Forces uniform with a red beret.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
He looked really strapped, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, he gets to the front gate, which of course is manned by the Vietnamese Army guys, right? The Vietnamese Special Forces guys are on the front gate along with our guys.
Oh, man. Oh, boy.
So they take his beret.
Oh, no.
Yeah, you can't wear that. That's our beret, you know?
Oh, man.
So he goes down and gets his platoon, right? And they come back and surround the guard post and said, give us back that hat or you're dead.
Whew.
I mean, that's kind of how things go there. I mean, one time, right before I left, we had a war in the compound. So we had the Vietnamese on one side, the Cambodians with the yards on the other side, and the Nung were all up in the towers. Okay?
Yeah.
Everybody shooting everybody.
Oh,
well, nobody got thousands of rounds and nobody got killed. It was amazing.
Wow.
But I remember going up and I was in the talk at that time. I'm walking into talking. There's a couple guys from my old platoon. You know, they're getting this deep sixth out of there for their role in this thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. You always had that. It was always that edge there, you know.
Yeah, that's
all
just from deep-seated, long, you know.
Yeah, animosities and prejudices. Yep.
Yep. So why did the Cambodians side with the Brew specifically? Do you know why?
Yeah, because they're Hmong Khmer.
So they just came from...
Khmer is Cambodian.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So they're the same ethnic stock.
So they just identified kind of as...
Yep. They identified with their both sides didn't like the Vietnamese that well.
Yeah. Wow.
Not that the Cambodians and the Brew wouldn't fight, they would. You know?
Mm-hmm. Sure. But
they
were enemy of my enemy type thing, probably.
Yeah.
Okay. And did you ever see a team, like I've heard of maybe once or twice, like a Vietnamese special forces person being on a team with yards, like for a strap hanging type thing, or like they were supposed to take over the team or something like that. How did that go over if something like that were to happen?
Well, we had one assigned to us on a platoon mission.
Okay, your first one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They would have probably shot him if they had a chance.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. And I'm sure they weren't too happy.
He was a pretty worthless individual, this one.
Okay.
Trouble was with those guys is they had a lot of them were there politically.
I've heard that, yeah. So like they just knew the right people or the family did or something.
Yeah, a lot of corruption in the Vietnamese military.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Lots.
Gotcha. Which I guess is probably why, and we don't have to go too far into this because I'm sure it's controversial, but which is, I'm guessing, why a lot of, it tarnishes the reputation, I guess, of like the LLDB and other units like that when you have people like that who are politically.
Well, it does, and one of my friends there was actually the major who was in charge of all the Vietnamese SF in the compound.
Mm-hmm.
And that guy was hardcore, man.
Yeah.
He was a great guy. He really was.
Mm-hmm.
And he had been fighting for a long time. And yeah, I really respected him.
Yeah.
But you know, you have all kinds.
Yep.
Even in our army, as you know.
You hear the same thing, yeah.
Yep.
Yep. Some, senator's son or something.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
As Fogarty put it. So can you go over, like you and me talked a little bit about this when we were at SOAR, unless you want to, if you want to talk about other stuff too, we can do that too. But I'm curious if you'd want to go over like what it's like to be in a brew village and what their hierarchy is and kind of how like a day-to-day life for them might look back home.
Well, they tend to be in smaller villages, number one.
Yeah.
Usually related to each other.
Like how many people in a village?
It can vary. I mean, if it's a well-established older village that's still kind of growing up, you can have 100, 200 people there.
Okay.
And it can start with just like 2 or 3 houses.
Yeah.
Yeah. The brew are somewhat critical and unforgiving at times.
Okay.
Of each other. So that causes some separation, you might say. And then, of course, the other thing is the land that they're on isn't that wonderful. So if they get too big, they can't support it. So they have to move out to find some better places to farm,
Yeah.
And the other thing is they spend a lot of time, especially the women, are out in the jungle. They live off of the jungle,
Mm-hmm.
They trap animals. They kill animals. They know plants. Boy, they know everything in the jungle.
Yeah.
And so the women do a lot of gathering. They plant rice, usually sticky rice.
Mm-hmm.
We call it's a highly glutinous rice.
Okay.
And they raise a few animals in the villages, but not a lot.
Like what kind of animals? Like
you would see chicken and ducks.
Okay.
Don't see too many pigs. But they'll eat pig. They eat rats, the field rats. They're not the rats like in garbage dumps.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they'll eat just about anything out there, actually.
Sure.
Snakes, you name it. If it crawls and rocks, they'll eat it.
Yeah. Do they ever eat like grubs or like anything like that? Like I've heard in West Papua, like of the sago grub and stuff like that. I don't know if they have that over in.
Well, a lot of times you see them like red ants or use a seasoning.
Really?
Yeah.
What have you ever tasted?
Sure.
What is it? What's that like?
Well, it's got a kind of a tanginess to it.
Really?
They can mash it up in the food, yeah.
Huh.
And they like hot food.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah. And so in the village, they have a village chief, and it can be elected or hierarchical after a while. They usually have a shaman.
Yeah.
Who is usually more important than the village chief.
Okay.
They have a lot of they're spirit worshippers, so they have a lot of taboos and beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
That governs about everything. And they're very segregated between men and women.
Mm-hmm.
Like you'll see, it blows your mind when you first get there. You see guys walking around holding hands.
Yeah.
Okay. But you'll never see a guy walking around holding hands with a woman.
All right.
Even if it's a wife.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. And
the women make almost all the clothes. They're hand woven. They're, they usually have patterns on them that they've done.
Okay.
And that's their pattern,
Like unique to that village or that tribe?
Usually the person making them.
Oh, unique to
they're
the
all similar,
family.
but they're all similar in their design. Yeah.
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 That's
So-
cool. It reminds me a lot of indigenous peoples
Yeah.
around like South America and stuff.
Yeah. And usually one family lives in a small house. Usually they take their house or built up on stilts.
Mm-hmm.
And the stilts are, one is to keep animals out. They usually use split bamboo to weave and make the sides of the house,
Yeah.
and then thatch for the roof.
Yeah, you showed me some cool pictures of that. It's really interesting.
And they're usually just a one-room little house. It's all made with stuff right out of the jungle, you know.
Yeah, like bamboo and
Bamboo, and they take wood, make the post, you know. They
Yeah.
cut down a tree, make the post. Houses are usually like 5-6 feet off the ground.
yeah. And you said that's
And,
to keep the animals below?
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the floor is made out of split bamboo.
Yeah.
And bamboo is used for all kinds of stuff out there. I mean, bamboo is amazing stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard. You can buy it at Home Depot here now.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Lucky bamboo.
Yeah, I've seen big barge loads coming down the Yellow River in China. It's amazing.
Oh wow. Yeah, I mean, I've heard. Yeah, very versatile.
So life in the village, number one, is slow, it's hard, and it's poor.
Hmm.
So when we come along and are offering people the equivalent of a Vietnamese lieutenant's wages,
Oh,
which is
man.
like 10 times what they'd get for doing anything else, it was like, yeah,
Yeah, worth the risk.
yeah.
And they weren't like a traditionally warrior type people, right? They were more like hunter-gatherer type people.
Well, yeah, the Brew were actually really good soldiers.
Yeah.
And they were probably, like I said, they were probably soldiers in the Khmer Empire,
Mm-hmm.
but they weren't naturally aggressive, I would say.
Okay. Yeah.
The Taoi were. They were just, Taoi had something like 60 words for kill.
Oh, yeah.
So you know right away what they're like. In fact, the Taoi used to make special baskets to abduct children for human sacrifices.
Whew. Oh, boy. Dang.
Yeah. So, yeah, they weren't well liked.
Got it. Got it.
But yeah, and the Brew were, as a Lao friend of mine said, the Lao have two hearts, but he said the Brew only have one.
Hmm.
Extremely loyal.
Hmm.
These guys are amazing. And I asked the Brew one time, this was years later, I met one of our Brew over in Laos, and I said to him, I said, so why did you stay with the Americans? Because it cost them everything.
Mm-hmm.
Really, literally. And he said, because the Americans loved us. No one loved us, but the Americans loved us.
Wow.
And it was true. We did.
Wow.
And in turn, they loved us.
Yeah.
And you can't make that up.
Yeah. That's
So-
one of the most powerful aspects of the whole special forces history, in my mind, is that connection with the Indig, and especially with the Yards and the Brew.
Well, and I think the modern SF has carried that over with the people they worked with.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You hear about
You
that
know,
all the time with them. Yeah.
yeah. And this is what probably makes us different than every other Army unit, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing that really tears us up when wars are over,
Mm-hmm.
because we feel the sense of betrayal very deeply.
Yeah. Yeah. At the end of Whispers in the Tall Grass, Nick talks a lot about the last moments of, like, filling foot lockers full of weapons and ammo and all kinds of stuff, and just hauling it off to the Brew villages, because, like,
Yeah, we were
didn't have
doing the
anything else.
same thing. We were telling him, I told him what was going to happen. I saw this in 1970.
yeah,
I said, we're leaving. You guys need to get guns and ammo now because we're leaving.
yeah,
And we did everything we could to help them because we saw what was coming.
yeah. And I know some made it, eventually to the Carolinas, to North Carolina, and
Yeah, and I understand a few brew made it there. I never have been down there to find them out. Mostly they were Rade.
yeah, because they have longhouses there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that group was actually brought out of Cambodia from some former SF guys.
And do you know what time period that was when that?
That was in the mid-'70s.
It was in the mid-'70s.
Yeah.
So that was during probably the rise of the Khmer Rouge, and
the Khmer Rouge were in charge at that time. They were in a refugee camp in Cambodia,
mm-hmm.
and some SF guys found out about them, pulled some strings high up, and repatriated the entire group to North Carolina.
Mm.
That's where Save the Mountain Yard people came from.
Yeah, which is we see him every time we're at SOAR. And I mean it's important, I think, for people here in the States to understand that history and what they've sacrificed, to save the lives of Americans, to fight alongside them, to be so extremely loyal, and that bond and brotherhood, and when you don't know that history, there's obviously a potential for them to be misunderstood. So
and they get kind of lumped in with the bigger population of the Vietnamese, and they were so different.
Yeah, very, very much so. It sounds like.
Yeah.
And so something that obviously we want to do all we can to try and help spread awareness of what they did, and make sure that their story is known, and remembered well. So
and I just want to say one thing at that point about the game.
Yeah.
And the thing I so appreciate about this game is not the game itself is fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
I love it, and I love what you guys have done with it, and the degree of authenticity that you're trying to bring to the game in terms of historical weapons and scenarios and stuff like this. But the other thing you're bringing is awareness of history.
Yeah.
And that, to me, is really great. I just appreciate it so much that you guys have gone to the extent of, one, researching the history to put it in the game, and then using the game to make history come alive and bring people in contact with who we were and what we did at the time. Not only what we did, but people like the brew and the circumstances that we were fighting under at the time. It's been, I think, appreciated by everybody that's seen your work.
Oh, God, thanks so much, Brew. God, the team's gonna that's gonna mean the world to them. And I mean, it's like I sat down with some guys at SOAR who were I think they were like government officials or something. It was a few years ago now, and I was telling them about the different, how we have the Royal Laotian Army and the Pathet Lao and the Khmer Rouge and the Fank and the Yards and all these different factions, and they're like, wow, like this is you guys are bringing awareness to this stuff. And I think that's, even if you just see the names and see the concepts and have awareness of it, it gives you something to picture in your mind when you hear it in the history books or in documentaries or in conversation with vets and stuff. And that's hopefully something that's meaningful in itself. But and it means the world to us, Brew, to have you guys come and hang with us and talk with us and tell us your stories and just welcome us into that community like you do. I mean, it's one of the most, it's probably the most meaningful thing that I've been able to do with my life in the last 5 years in my professional career, and that just means the world to all of us. And it's so cool too to see the ARMA community who look at you guys and want to honor what you've done by learning the history and even like reenacting it in some cases, and trying to like build this sense of carrying it on. You talked about reenactment groups too, like some of the guys who play ARMA are from Modern Forces too, which they guys out in the UK who are all preserving SOG history through demonstrating their tactics and techniques and procedures and showing how the equipment was set up, showing how the missions would have been, and doing the interviews and different things like that. It's really cool to see that community all come together to build this historical picture of this whole locked away part of history for so many years.
Yeah, and to me, it's just mind blowing, especially like the UK group.
Yeah.
They know more about our equipment than I did.
Yeah. Oh man, it was so cool to have those guys out at SOAR a couple years ago, and they were in heaven being around you guys.
Yeah.
It was great.
Well, while we're talking about things, I'd like to reminisce a little bit about some people.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Well, the first one I want to talk about today is Fish Smith.
Yep.
Fish was my buddy. He died last week.
Yeah. Rest in peace.
He was an incredible guy, I'll tell you. Fish Smith and Bert Imada worked in a garbage dump across the road from CCN. Now, a lot of guys going to Vietnam would have liked that job because you weren't going to get killed.
Mm-hmm.
But this was not Fish and Bert, okay? These guys were warriors, and they wanted to go to war. So on their weekends and time off, they would go out and slip around the jungles around Da Nang on their own.
Mm.
Well, that's a pretty dangerous thing because you never know which side's going to shoot you out there.
Yeah, you might run into even a South Vietnamese or American patrol and get shot.
Exactly. But they discovered a VC hospital while they were out there.
Ah.
And so the South Korean Marines went in and cleaned that area out.
Okay.
And so afterwards, they're going to give these guys a medal, and they ask them, well, what do you want to do? And they'd seen us practicing, repelling and stuff out of helicopters across the road. And he was like, we want to go over there with those guys.
Yeah.
Well, let me say something about old-time SF and SF today. There used to be the Brotherhood of War series. I forget who wrote it now. And he had the one on the berets, and it's following these SF guys in the early days of SF, right? In the early days of SF, there was a lot of guys that knew each other, and they were old OSS guys. And so they're setting up the modern special forces.
Mm-hmm.
And so they had a lot of leeway in those days. And yeah, they were doing, they didn't have the Q course at the beginning. They basically had their own course. And they recruited a bunch of East European freedom fighters from the Lodge Act to set up like the 10th group. Because these guys had already fought against Germans, the guerrillas. They spoke the local languages,
Yeah.
And that's how 10th group was formed, around these guys. And so they knew what kind of capabilities he wanted because these are ex-OSS people.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things that happened in the early days is these group commanders and that, they could pretty much recruit anybody they wanted to into SF.
Okay.
Well, that kind of went into SOG too. So whereas the majority of SOG's ground operators were SF,
mm-hmm.
there were a few guys that weren't.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them were recruited out of LRP units. They were experienced LRP guys, already had tours in Vietnam.
Yeah.
And they were offered a chance to come into SOG. Okay?
Doug Godshaw, he was SF in the Q course, I think, and then he got thrown out for having glasses, got to Vietnam, and still got to be in SOG. Got to do the same thing anyway.
Yeah.
Hey, Brew, I'm gonna put a light on real quick because it's getting dark in here.
Yeah, good idea. So anyway, Chief SOG heard about this and goes, sounds like two nuts that we need,
Yeah.
So Fish came over and he was assigned to Gary Schwartzball's team. We had RT Kansas at the time.
Okay.
And Bert Amato went to Pat Eddington's team, RT Cobra.
Okay.
So the reason for that was Bert was a Samoan. Pat Eddington was a full-blooded Chinese that stood over 6 foot tall.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah.
This
and
makes
his
sense.
team was all Chuhoi NVA that had been on the trail.
Okay, I can see where this is going.
Yeah. So Gary was part American Indian, and he was a great recon guy. I ran recon with Gary my last mission.
Mm-hmm.
And Gary and certain team leaders kind of ended up being trainers. It's like they kept circulating new guys onto their team because these guys were excellent 1-0s. And they would mentor new guys on, and then they'd move on to other teams. So Fish was this guy. And Gary told me later, he said Fish was one of the best 1-1s he'd ever had.
Yeah.
Fearless. The guy was fearless.
Wow.
I remember I was on the radio at Hickory when Fish was in contact. Fish was on the radio talking to me, and I could hear the dogs chasing him. And
over the radio, you could hear this.
Over the radio, yeah. And they ran into this little gully area. And Fish was like, he's talking to me like it's a Sunday afternoon picnic. Yeah, we're running in this gully. We're going to try to get down there and hide. So then Cubby shows up. And Cubby says, well, where do you want the air? And Fish goes, anywhere. They're everywhere around me. Yeah. And, Cubby has to get him down to a direction. He said, just put it over there. Okay, so he does. He goes, that sounds good. They're screaming,
Yeah.
So he puts in air, and then a little while later, Fish comes on and he goes, stop the air show. I want to go out and kill some of these people. And then Cubby's going, stay on the radio, stay on the radio. Silence, Silence for like 5 minutes or so. Fish comes back on and goes, man, there are dead bodies laying everywhere. I killed a bunch of these SOBs.
Wow.
He said, give me some more air,
Damn.
So he's like a Sunday afternoon picnic. Never raises his voice, right?
Yeah.
The only time Fish raised his voice in this entire thing was when they were lifting out on strings, and one of the brews started to fall out of the harness, and he started screaming at the helicopter, put him down, That's the only time he raised his voice.
Making sure these guys get through.
He was cool under fire, I'm telling you. He later became the 1-1 to Jerry Plank on RT Hawaii.
Okay.
And what happened, it was funny too, what happened to Fish. So Fish was, I think he extended, or he re-upped. Yeah, he re-upped.
Mm-hmm.
And Amada extended in order to come over and run recon with us. So Fish ended it, he had to go back to the States. So the story was, I think he told me the ex-commander S.O.G was now in the States at Fort Lewis or something.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, he went to see him as soon as he got back. He said, I got to go back,
Mm-hmm.
So he types him up a set of orders. He said, take these and go and leave. By the time you get back, they'll be official.
Mm-hmm.
So he does. He goes back home, 30-day leave, comes back, goes back to Vietnam. They divert him to the I Corps Rangers. So he gets up with the I Corps Rangers, and they won't let him out of their sight. He doesn't get leave. He's running missions with them, and they won't let him off until he makes them think that he's happy there, and they're a great bunch of guys, right? And they finally gave him a little bit of a leave.
Yeah. Oh, I know where he went.
He did. He went straight to CCN.
Yep.
And I happened to be on duty that day.
Ah.
And I get a call from the front gate. Say, hey, there's this guy from the front gate. He says he used to be in recon company and he wants to come in.
Yeah.
And I said, what's his name? He says, Smith. I said, so I go out to the front gate. It's Fish.
Yeah.
So I escort him in, take him down to the recon company CO, but he's back in recon company. In fact, he told me, I left everything there. I'm not going back because I don't want them to ever get their hands on me again.
Oh, man.
So he came back and he started running recon with Jerry Plank on RTY. It was him, and Jerry Plank, and Ron Hanna on that team.
Mm-hmm.
And so he ended up, it was funny because he wanted to get a GED. But the day of his test, he was so scared of it that he hired somebody to go take the test for him.
What?
But he gets out of the Army and he goes to university. And I forget where I think it might have been Arizona,
Yeah.
playing football. And they had a strength coach down there that later went up Chicago Bears. And he got recruited for the Chicago Bears.
What?
Yeah, he told me he was a lineman, and he was up to like 280 pounds or something with 3% body fat.
Whoa.
Yeah.
After he was in SOG.
Yeah.
Twice.
And then he got a call from Bo Greitz. Bo wanted him to come over and help him with looking for POWs, right?
Yeah.
He quit the Chicago Bears to go with Bo.
Man.
Then he came back and became a firefighter in Chicago.
This is the guy. Oh, yeah. Because you said on the SOGcast that he said he had wanted to be like a hitman or something like that.
Yeah, he always
after
said he wanted to be a
got out.
hitman with the mafia when he got out.
Oh,
I always
God.
believed that if there's anybody who could do it, it'd be him.
Yeah, I bet. Oh, God.
Great guy, great guy.
Oh, that's so cool.
I got to meet him and his daughter, SOR, one year.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
God.
That was the year
pretty
Bargewell
fresh.
retired. He showed up as SOG.
Wow.
At SOR, I mean.
Wow. Has he been there
Hardly ever. Just I met him that one time.
just that one time? Okay. So
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't have met him then.
No, this has been quite a bit earlier, about around 2000.
Got it. Oh, man. Wow.
I mean, I was there. There were some great people there when I was there. We had Lynne and Tilt.
Mm-hmm.
We had Dutch Ringa. We had Raymond Slade, Lightning Wunderlich, Captain America. I can't remember his name. We had two
Every
guys
unit's
that
got
were-
a Captain America.
Yeah. I saw him at SOAR, too.
Yeah.
Well, I can't remember his name now. I feel bad about that.
That's okay.
And,
It happens.
But well, let me tell you a couple of my favorite stories while I'm there.
Yeah.
Talking about personalities, Pat Eddington.
Mhm.
That was one of my earliest mentors. People were intimidated by Pat.
He's a tall guy, right?
He was
6'3"?
tall and he was quiet. He was kind of keep to himself kind of guy, you know.
Sure.
But if you go talk to Pat talked to you all day long.
Hmm.
And that's how you learn. You know, my dad told me, he says, when you go to a new place, do what the experienced men do, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, go learn from them. So what I did, when I got to Recon, and in fact, when I first got to CCN, I'd find out who was the most experienced guy, and I'd just sit down and talk to him. I'd go to their hooch, talk to him, you know.
Yeah.
That's how you learn.
Yeah.
And they tell you stories of their missions, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And what did you do? Why did you do that? You know, and you get all this knowledge in there, and it forms your tactics and stuff, you know.
Hmm.
And so, Pat was one of them. In fact, Pat at that time he was into martial arts, and he was doing his nunchuck thing. He made me a pair of nunchucks. Had them for
Oh,
years.
man.
Somebody stole them from me.
Ah.
Yeah, they were
I'm
teak,
sorry.
made out of teak, real heavy.
Yeah.
But Pat was great.
Wow.
I didn't get to see him again until we did the PUC ceremony
Oh, yeah.
at Fort Bragg. Yeah, I met him there. I got pictures of
That'd
me
be,
with Pat that day.
that'd be
he
early
was-
2000s.
Yeah, Pat was great. He told me a lot of stuff, boy. I used a lot of his stuff later running Recon.
Hmm.
And then Lynne, of course. The kid from Home Alone? Well, Lynn
Oh,
was
yeah,
SOG's
Kevin, yeah.
equivalent, okay? He even had that kind of innocent, mischievous grin where when you see it, you know that
I could see that.
something
Yeah.
bad just happened.
Yep. You told me about his when we were at a restaurant a couple years ago at SOAR. You and me were sitting together, and you were telling me about Lynne's range escapades.
Oh, yeah. Well, Lynn, I always told people at the club, I said, you go on a mission with Lynn, you'll never get hurt. But don't ever go to the range with him. You'll probably get killed.
Oh, God.
Yeah. I'll give you a few reasons why. First of all, everybody knows the story of Lynne trying to figure out what to do with a demo charge to get a prisoner, where he got in the middle of like 8 pounds of C4 and blew it and knocked himself out.
Mm-hmm. Was he really unconscious for 2 days?
I wasn't there for that one. But
yeah, I guess that was early on, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was early on. So my first day at the range at CCN. Okay, I'm down there with the platoon. We're going to do some IA drills, shoot some weapons, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Lynne's down there. So Lynne has what we call the napalm gun. So this was a plastic handle, fold-down plastic handle attached to a aluminum tube about maybe 10 or 11 inches long.
Yeah. Where did he get this thing?
I don't know. It's one of those SOG things, you know.
We'll have to ask him.
But we combat tested all kinds of weapons. We were like the unit. If they wanted to know if something worked in combat, they give it to us first.
Sure.
Okay, so we did a lot of experimental weapons. Okay, by the Army.
Yeah.
We'd send them over to us. We'd test them.
Sure.
And that was one of them. So this thing I remember was in a plastic pouch. Lynne takes it out, and he folds down. The handle folds down, and then you got a little plastic handle and a trigger, and then you hold it in your hand, right?
Does it have a tank or something?
Huh?
Where does the napalm come from?
It's actually white phosphorus.
Oh, okay.
Okay. We just called them the napalm gun.
Got it. Interesting.
Okay. A second here. So he unfolds this thing, holds it out, pulls the trigger, and it goes click, and he goes, "Oh no, not a boom!" This thing blows up right in his hands. Okay.
Oh no!
White phosphorus is now like 50 feet in the air, and I'm running. Everybody's running in all directions. I'm thinking, my first day, I'm going to die, Mom. You know, white phosphorus is going to come down, burning through my body and disfiguring me horribly. Yeah. Everybody's running. Nobody gets hurt.
God.
Okay. Singed Lynne's eyebrows, burned his hands a little bit, and that was it. That was day one with Lynne. Okay.
How did it turn out that it had exploded? Was it?
I don't know.
I heard that the cap was still on it or something like that. Like it.
No idea.
Oh man.
Another time I'm down there. Lynne's got a Gyrojet pistol.
Oh yeah, which we have here. Hold on.
Yep, that's it. So it's actually a solid state rocket. Okay, you got like a 50 caliber rocket round. It's got the solid state propellant in the back, pushing it out, and it sounds. It's not silent. It goes whoosh, you know, as it burns off the rail there. Okay, it doesn't sound like that at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. So one of the features of that is the farther it goes, the faster it goes, because it's burning off propellant, it's accelerating, and it's getting rid of weight as it's accelerating, right?
Which is contrary to what a normal bullet would be.
Exactly the opposite. So Lynne had laid down the Gyrojet pistol, and he's moving this like 6x6 thing. And he bumps that pistol. The pistol goes off and shoots him right in the belt buckle.
Oh.
So it beds in his belt buckle, and it's going. If Lynne had been back another foot or two, it'd probably gone clean through him.
Oh my God.
For that thing, I mean, it like a 6x6, it'd go right through that thing. Not a problem.
Holy shit. So it just came out, but I'm guessing it hadn't reached the velocity yet. Where
it
it
hadn't reached terminal velocity yet because, it only going like 5 or 6 feet.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was number 2. And then I was down there another time when him and a bunch of guys had some sawed-off 79s, and they're shooting these 55-gallon drums.
Yeah.
And it blows back, and they all get wounded.
Oh, boy. What? Were they shooting high explosive rounds at him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the end result of all that was that after all that, if we went to the range, we had to take along an ambulance. And that was because of Lynne.
Oh boy! So you had to make sure.
I remember being in Lynne's Hooch, and he told me about the Spike Team Alabama mission.
Oh yeah, October 5th,
and
68.
I'm thinking, man, I don't know if I can do this.
Yeah.
You know, if that's how these missions are going to be, I'm not sure I'm ready for this.
That was
you know
his, I think that was his first mission over the fence, if I remember
That's right. That's right.
Because he had one in country where they got picked up by Navy airboats or something like that, hovercraft.
Well, he'd been there before.
Yeah, and then I guess he'd been with 173rd.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But he's a warrior, you know.
Yeah, no doubt.
But he's that kid, you know, from Home Alone.
Or
dangerous. Dangerous. Yeah. Give him explosives and then stand back. And he loved explosives. Yeah. He was always thinking of a new thing to do with them.
Oh, boy. Or like last night we were saying, he's like the Jamie Heineman or Adam Savage. Mythbusters.
Yeah, Mythbuster. He's definitely him.
That's great.
I mean, we had some real personalities there, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Like Dutch. Dutch himself was an amazing guy. You know, he was a Dutch, grew up in Indonesia, been in the Dutch Army, you know, in the jungles of Indonesia, joined the U.S. Army, come into SF, later got out, became CIA, served almost 50 years.
Wow.
Yeah, he was an instructor at the farm.
Okay.
And he had the very first Cambodian recon team. That was RT Anaconda. And he told me, he said one of the first missions he ran with the Cambos, right? He says they get out there and, you know, they're setting up, and along comes this Vietnamese platoon, and the Cambodians go, "Let's kill them," you know.
Yeah.
He goes, "No, we're here for recon." And he goes, and the Cambos go, "Well, we kill them or we kill you." And he says, "Well, let's go get them."
Oh man.
So he said, I learned right away how that was going to work. You know?
Those guys.
That group was later. They were all KKK guys.
Mm-hmm.
That we had a whole battalion come over, and then part of them ended up in CCN, and then they took them all back, and they became like the elite of the Cambodian army later.
Yeah.
After they'd been with us for a while.
For those of us who are Americans who might associate KKK with something else, can you explain what that is?
It's Khmer, forget what it was. It was like a political sect within within Cambodia, but most people accuse them of being bandits.
Okay.
Because they were fighting against the Cambodians and the North Vietnamese at one time, and the North Vietnamese got to be too strong, and so they came across the border and gave up to SF.
Got it. Okay. So
yeah, go ahead.
Oh no, you continue.
So anyway, he ran them for a while before they were sent back to Cambodia, but he said, you know, that they were not a recon team. They were a mini assault force. And he says when they put that Buddha in their mouth, which is what they like to do when they're going into assaults.
Okay.
Because then they believe they go straight to heaven.
Yeah.
They were like fearless.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, it's interesting. You just get the different, style or, different like cultural aspects from each of the different indige ethnicities. So like you really have to know. This is I always hear about in special forces that you have to know how to talk to people, how to get along with people, how to read people. Like it's not just about being a warrior; it's also about being number one, smart. Number two, like good with people, and
so you have to assimilate.
Yeah,
to a degree, you know.
Mm-hmm.
You have to balance.
Mm-hmm.
You have to balance between being the boss and being a member.
Mm-hmm.
Two different things.
Yeah.
You know, you're the ultimate authority, but you have to be careful how you use that authority. And you have the authority because they give you authority, not because you have it intrinsically.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you get that from respect.
Got to earn it.
Yeah, you got to earn it.
Yeah. Yeah.
No. And, you know, one thing that happened to me one time, you probably heard about Billy Wall. They talk about Billy Wall and his good deals.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
You know,
I got a good deal for you, yeah.
Well, Billy Wall, that term did not originate with Billy, all right?
Okay.
Even though he made it quite famous.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when you heard that from Billy, you didn't want to, I mean, everybody used to joke about Billy's good deals. You know?
Yeah, I remember you telling me about this at SOAR.
Yeah. Billy can get you killed in a hurry.
Yeah.
Well, so they'd taken North Carolina away from us, and I'm teamless now. So I'm laying there. I'd pulled all-night guard duty. I've been in the club up until time for guard duty, and then went on guard duty, and then got off like at 6 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
And so about 8 o'clock, Raymond Slade comes over. Slade was famous because he only did POW raids. Okay. In fact, his team leader he'd captured in Laos before, on his first tour. He said
he captured his team leader?
Yeah, Lao Brew. And he said he saved his life. Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
And he said he saved his life several times since then.
Huh.
He was probably glad to be captured at that point.
Yeah, I guess so, yeah.
So, anyway, Slade only do POW missions. And when they told him he couldn't do them anymore, he quit running recon. Because he was like singular, you know.
Yeah.
So he wakes me up, you know, hey, have I got a good deal for you? I go, well, what's your good deal? He says, well, we're going to go out on a POW's mission. My 1-2 isn't back from leave yet, and I need another American, and I want you to come with me. I go, okay. When are we leaving? He says, it's afternoon. I go, oh, great. Well, I said, pack my stuff. I'm going back to sleep.
Yeah. Yeah. You just
so I go back to sleep. Yeah. I was dead, you know.
Yeah.
And so it is like an hour later, here comes Gary Schwartzbaugh, RT Kansas, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Same words. Have I got a good deal for you? I go, well, what's your good deal? He says, we're going to run this target up north. Hadn't been running more than a year. They shot down the SPAD prep in the LZ a year ago, and it's like the farthest north target we got. I go, well, like when's your good deal?
Pass or something?
Huh? Yeah, it's down just south of Mujia.
Okay.
And I think I've always tried to find the name of the pass that was there, but it might have been Bon Cry or something like that. But anyway, and it was like 38 clicks north of the D.
Yeah.
And right at the edge of what we could do, you know?
Yeah.
So anyway, I said, well, what's your good deal? He says, well, it'll be a week or so. We got to do a little training, you know. We got to do this and that. I go, great. You go tell Slade I'm taking your good deal. I'm going to bed. So an hour later, here comes Slade. Hey, good news. My 1-2 just showed up. You don't have to go. I said, great. I'm going back to bed. So I ran that mission with Schwartzbaugh. We got a POW on the mission.
Okay.
Who died because Hillsborough messed up on the extraction. And it was funny, years later, we're sitting in SOAR, and Gary's talking about how he always trained guys. And Gary, like I said, he ended up with a lot of new guys. He'd train them, and they'd move on to other teams. And so he went through a lot of 1-1s, you know.
Yeah.
Anyway, he goes, well, you know, I always get a guy, and I train him and train him and train him. And he stops, and he looks at me, he said, except you. Because we just went out and ran the mission.
Yeah, you didn't have to. You already had the experience.
It was really funny because I'd known Gary for a while. And I've been over his Hooch several times, talked to him a lot. And we just thought alike.
Yeah.
We just
on
did.
The same frequency.
Yeah, we were just on that frequency. And it's like when we landed on this target, you know, there's rules and there are rules. And what I mean by that is rules work 99% of the time. But rules are never 100%. But you have to know when they aren't. So we land on this LZ. Well, day one, we make the insert, and Gary shoots this LZ watcher right on the LZ.
Mm.
So we scrub off day one, and it turns out that there was a hill in the way between the hill we were on and the road that wasn't on the map.
Oh yeah, I've heard of this before.
Yeah. So the next day we insert on top of the hill where we can actually see the road.
Mm-hmm.
Or there's a road coming out of North Vietnam, comes down the face of this cliff. And then it joins to the north-south road coming out of Mojia Pass.
Okay.
Okay. And this road is big. I mean, you could run like 3 2.5 side by side down this thing.
Oh, wow.
It's like a super highway, you know.
Okay.
And so anyway, second day we land. So we land, and we're landing in elephant grass, and right there's this like hard-packed trail going up this hill, the top of the hill.
Yeah.
Now, the rule said you don't ever do that. You don't ever walk that trail.
Yeah.
But Gary looks at me. I look at him. I nod my head. Off we go. We're on the same frequency.
Yeah.
So before we ran this mission, we looked over things, talked about it. Gary had been in around that area before. Not on that particular target, but close to it.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, we're going to run into one of two things. Either one, because these are units that don't normally get exposed to SOG missions,
mm-hmm.
because they're farther north.
So they probably haven't adapted as much.
Exactly. They're greener units usually. They're not combat tested. They're maybe moving through, you know.
Yeah.
So he said they're either going to do too little or too much.
Okay.
In other words, they're either going to send out a company after us, or they're going to send out just a couple guys.
Yeah.
So we hope it's not too much.
Yeah. Hope it's the form or the latter rather than the former.
Yeah. So we hit the ground there, and we go up that trail. So we get up the hill about a couple hundred meters, and there's a little campsite up there at the top of the hill. So it was a watch station where they used to watch for aircraft over the trail. Okay.
Okay. So they point out like the what do they call them? The coveys that would be like hunting for trucks and stuff.
Well,
like
that and bombers bombing the trail.
Okay, and like
F4s, stuff like that.
B-52s and
Yeah.
F4s and yeah.
So they had a thatched hutch up at the top. They actually had a little picnic table. They had a dump there where they had a bunch of cans in there from, I remember it was tuna from Portugal. And they had another hooch where they'd sleep, yeah. And so this is their permanent outpost that they had up there that we'd use to watch the trail.
Yeah.
So we went up and set up in the middle of their little camp. Okay?
Yeah.
On the way up that hill, by the way, this is why I quit Recon. We're going up that hill, and of course we're looking up, watching it as we're moving up, because we were looking for movement or anything to see if they're home or not.
Mm-hmm.
And I stepped on a piece of dry bamboo.
Ooh.
And it sounded like a gunshot, that stuff, when you step on it. And
it's
everybody freezes.
Blood run cold.
Oh, it did. And everybody just stops, freezes right in place and looks. You're expecting it, bullets flying in the next minute. Nothing. Okay, whoosh, that's good. Take another step, I did it again.
Oh.
And at that time, I was trying to get married.
Mm-hmm.
And the sergeant major was messing with me badly.
Mm-hmm.
He tore up my leave papers. He'd done all sorts of stuff. So my mind isn't like 100%. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm down to like 40 days left in Vietnam. I'm trying to get things done to get married, and this guy's messing with me, right?
Yeah. You're getting up on that short timer kind of mindset.
Yeah. So it was at that point, I came back. I told Gary, I said, that's it. I'm not going to run. He was getting ready to go on leave anyway, which meant that I wouldn't be able to run with him.
Mm-hmm.
I have to run with somebody new. And I said, that's it.
Too many variables.
Too many variables. I'll get somebody killed.
Yeah.
I was more worried about getting other people killed than I was about getting myself killed at that point.
Yeah, very, apparently with the way you talk to your brew too, saying leave me if I, if you have to.
Well, and Lynne told me something, and really, Lynne told me two things that really served me well, and I would say saved my life in some respects. The first thing Lynne told me, he says, these people will kill you, talking about headquarters. He said, your job is to take care of your team and basically make sure they survive. And he said the second thing is there comes a day when you have to quit running recon. He said only you know what day that is. But if you stay, either you get killed or you get somebody else killed. And I've seen that many times. That happened with Baby Son Davison. It happened to Shriver. That happened with several people who couldn't quit. And he ended up getting himself or other people killed in the process. Yeah. So I'll tell you, quitting recon was the hardest thing I'd ever done.
It's got to be such a central part to who you are by that point.
Not only that, you just feel like you're failing everybody. You're failing the brew, you're failing the other Americans who have to take up your slack.
Yeah.
It's just, you feel horrible. I never went back to the club. I never went to anything with other guys after that. I just isolated, The only time I went, when they'd taken our brew away from us and given it to these other two Americans, and they got their first mission, they got in a big fight. And several of our brew were wounded. I went down to the hospital to see them before I left, and I cried. It was so hard.
God.
And even when I got back to the States, I just went into isolation for years. I just, it was difficult. I remember when I saw the tanks rolling into Quang Tri.
Oh, my God.
It was about 73, I guess it was, 74. I called the Pentagon and to see about going back. And I wanted to go back. And by that time, of course, SOG was out. So there was no going back, But you just felt horrible.
Yeah.
From all of it.
Brew, God, that's just like, it's just unimaginable after you build that kind of a family type, brotherhood type bond with these people, and then just you have no choice, but you gotta. It's just history works, and you gotta ride the waves of history, kind of, because it's just some things are out of our control.
Yep, kind of how it is.
Yeah. You met a couple guys from your team. Do you want to talk about meeting them again later, or do you want to leave that as more of a personal thing?
Yeah, I'd just say that I was able to meet some of them later.
Yeah.
And it is so good.
Yeah.
I just regret not meeting more.
Yeah.
They were such good guys, and trying to do what I can for them now, which isn't a lot, but anything I can do just to help the end of their life better is a great thing.
Sure. What do you think is the best thing? Like, if there's the average person out here who wants to do something to help that community, for what they did, even in a small way, is there anything you can think of that would be helpful, for somebody who maybe is an American or a European or, somebody like that who just wants to do something to help make sure that those people are recognized or somehow contribute to helping them?
Well, the only organization I know of in the United States that does anything like that is Save the Mountain Yard People.
Yeah.
They kind of keep things alive down there in North Carolina.
Sure.
The other things that are happening, I can't really talk about at the moment.
Yeah. It's
But
okay.
anyway,
Yeah. Well, if anybody, wants more information on the on STMP, I believe Dawn is like a lifetime member or something like that. So they could ask around in our Discord or something like that. But I'd guess other than that, just kind of learning their stories probably and trying to keep culturally aware of how they contributed to the war, who they were, who they are today as much as they can. Because it's easy for stuff like that to kind of get lost in the, in history if we're not careful.
yeah, exactly. And, America doesn't have a very good track record of taking care of our allies.
Right. Yeah.
And unfortunately, well, we followed the British example from that. They don't either. So, yeah, keeping history alive.
Yeah.
As they say, if you don't learn history, you're destined to repeat it.
Yep.
And it's true. It's absolutely true. Yep.
Well, Brew, this is we're coming up on 2 hours and 10 minutes here. This has been one of the coolest conversations that we've ever been able to have, just because doing it in this kind of an environment is so freaking interesting and fun. We got Tilt over there having a heated conversation with somebody.
Yeah, there we go.
But are there any other topics you want to make sure, because we can do this again and we definitely will. I was thinking, even if people want, and if it's all right with you, we could potentially do it on a live stream too and have people send questions in and stuff, but we can talk about that later. But today, is there any other stories you wanted to make sure we cover? We talked about Fish, we talked about Pat, we talked about Lynne, we talked about Gary and Dutch, and we talked a lot about the brew, which is awesome. You always talk about Master Joseph. Is that somebody you want to talk about too?
No, Bob. Yeah, Bob was my closest friend there.
Yeah.
Bob and Ben Coleman. Bob Coleman. They were two of my closest friends. So we're all 1-1s, and Bob was 1-1 on Moccasin with Dugan. They're both New Jersey guys. And Bob Coleman was 1-1 with Al Marciano. And so we used to hang out together all the time. And in fact, I got Bob up to CCN. We'd been in a training group together, him and me and Ron Orndorff. And anyway, MJ, he's the funniest guy alive. I swear to God, I've never been around anybody funnier than him.
That's awesome.
I remember when tour it was me and him and Lynn and Tilt and some other guys were. So MJ and I are doing the 1-1s, the 1-1 stories, and like, who is a 1-0? He who sits on the right hand of God and interprets all of his commands. Yeah. We used to have all these definitions of 1-0s. And most people don't understand the job of the 1-1 on the team.
Yeah.
Basically, the 1-0 was busy a lot with higher headquarters. He'd go up and get the initial mission briefs. He'd fly the VRs. He'd coordinate with the launch site for inserts and what we're going to do and that kind of stuff. And during all that time, the 1-1's taking care of the team.
Yeah. Prepping.
I'm doing the daily training. So my interface is more directly with the team than the 1-1 is at most times. Because I'm with them every day.
Than the 1-0 is.
Yeah. Because I'm doing all the training every day, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And but the teamwork between the 1-1 and the 1-0 is really important. And being on that same wavelength, Yeah. That's so important.
Yeah.
And if you read Nick Brockhausen's book, Tales on Tall Grass, one of those two. He talks about it. SOG was always short of experienced 1-0s.
Mm-hmm.
So as soon as a 1-1 would get to be halfway decent, they'd try to make a 1-0 out of them.
Mm.
Well, like me personally, I never wanted to be a 1-0.
Mm.
I always thought there were much better people than me as 1-0s, and I functioned better as a 1-1.
Yeah.
In my mind,
Yeah.
And but the hierarchy is always trying to, advance guys up to 1-0s because they're running out of them.
Yeah. I think Mick faced this same situation, right?
Exactly. In his book, he talks about it, where they wanted to split their team up and make them 1-0s, and they fought that. And because, on the other side of this, if you got a well-functioning team, why would you split it up?
Yeah.
So you always have this internal struggle going on between developing a good team and then splitting it up to make two teams and maybe not as good as the original.
Yeah.
Because then you got to train a new 1-1, And it's dangerous, okay? Because first of all, if you don't have the same chemistry, there's always something there that's not right, It's like I carried the radio and I called every airstrike on every team I was on. Okay?
Yeah.
No, not all 1-1s did that.
Yeah.
A lot of times the 1-0 would call the air,
Yep.
But I always called the air. So the way it kind of worked out on the ground was this. The 1-0 did team direction. Like when we get in contact, he's directing the team to move this and move that and move the other thing, right? I'm there. I'm watching the back trail. I'm calling air. I'm getting on the radio. I'm doing all the other stuff while he's directing the team into what our tactics are going on to be.
Sure.
So
you're like
he's
a slightly bigger picture.
Yeah, and he's free to do that. He didn't have to think about this covey coming or anything else like that. He knows I've got that. And the air part of it, he's worried about getting attacked on the ground. I'm worried about what's coming after this initial assault,
Yeah.
I'm worried about the tree lines and where they're coming from and the bigger thing,
Sure.
Unless he tells me over here, over there, something like that. So
that's interesting.
We split the roles, and each of them has we have our areas that we watch over, but we're in sync mentally, We don't have to talk about it.
You just know what the other person's thinking, kind of.
Exactly. And so, like Billy and I, before we go on a mission, Billy had 3 tours of Vietnam, tour in Laos. I mean, he'd been around. He'd been in SF. He'd been overseas 10 years.
This is Billy Van Meter?
Yeah. Quiet guy, very nondescript around the compound, quiet. But in the woods, really good, So what Billy and I do, it's before we'd run the mission, he'd sit down with me, we'd go over maps. We talk about, well, this is a possible ambush place, this is a possible ambush place, this is what we're going to do, this is what we're looking for, this kind of stuff,
Yeah.
So before we ever went out there, we had a pretty good idea what we're going to do and where we would probably have trouble. And if there was trouble, what we'd do then,
Yeah.
So he was really good about that.
So he was kind of doing like IPB sort of intelligence preparation of the battlefield.
Yeah, exactly. And he's mentoring me in doing it, And the other thing about Billy, and this is where the 1112 thing, 1110 thing comes in. I'd say, well, Billy, what about doing this? And he'd say, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
It wasn't like I'm the 1-0 and do what I say.
Yeah.
I'm a 21-year-old kid.
Yeah.
And Billy at that time was he's in his late 30s.
Really?
Yeah.
Still running.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so, several things we did out there. I said, Billy, let's do this. It's like when Bud got hit, we were under triple canopy, right? Cubby can't find us. So I had an experimental smoke parachute round for an M79, one of those experimental things. And the second one I fired up, they found us, right? But we're under triple canopy.
You're talking about the parachute round?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little smoke round, you know. And so then they can't find an LZ for us. And this is one of those tingly moments, you know, one of these God moments, actually. And I told Billy, I said, there's an LZ right over there. And he said, are you sure? And I said, I'm sure. We walked like 200, 300 meters into a one-chip LZ.
Okay.
Cubby couldn't see it at the time.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's how the relationship was between us.
Yeah, you just had that trust.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Same with Gary, you know, same thing with Gary. So, that, you know, anyway, back to MJ. So MJ's famous thing was, he gets up at the club one night, he's like half lit, and he goes, I give my right nut for a prisoner, right?
Oh, boy.
So 2 days later, he's on a mission. This NVA stitches in with an AK at the same time he blows the claymore on the NVA, right?
Yeah.
So everybody runs off and leaves this guy laying on the battlefield, and they pick him up. They go up the hill and pick him up. He's still alive, this NVA. So yeah, you hear Master Joseph tell this story. You know, he says, you know, I got a triangle bandage on me like a baby diaper, and I'm trying to hold my stuff together. And he says, and is my 1-0 concerned about me? No, he's all concerned about the prisoner. He doesn't forgets all about me. He grabs the prisoner, puts him over his shoulder, and I gotta walk. You know, this is MJ. But here's another good story about that. So later on, they're both in the hospital. So MJ's on a wheelchair.
Did he lose his right nut?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
He did. So they wheel him down.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't laugh, but it's just.
Yeah. They wheel him down to the prisoner, right?
Yeah.
So MJ's got their interpreter with him. He's talking to him. He says,
Yeah.
I just want you to know there's no hard feelings. Reaches up and shuts off his IV.
Classic.
So then, here's the end of the story. So MJ's about ready to be evacuated out to Japan, right?
Yeah.
So our medics go steal him out of the ward.
Oh.
Okay. And bring him to the club for his last night.
Oh, hell yeah.
So here he is, MJ sitting there in his wheelchair with an IV, drunk. I mean, he gets drunk, right? So what do the medics do? They load him back in the ambulance. They take him over and leave him out in front of the hospital with a six-pack in his lap. Passed out.
Oh my God. I'm guessing he didn't get to keep the six-pack.
Yeah. This was CCN.
Oh, that's classic. Oh, man. That's too good. God.
So I think we'll leave it there on this note.
That sounds good, Brew. Man, thank you so much for this. This is so much fun. It's just so cool to sit here and talk about this stuff with you. I appreciate you always taking the time to tell so many stories and stuff, and it's cool to get to share that with more people now. And yeah, let's do more if you're interested. We can let's actually next maybe you and me can run some across the fence next week, and we'll kind of get into the field. Maybe that'll spring up some more stories, and maybe I can record that if we want.
Yeah, sounds great. I'm looking forward to it.
Cool. All right. Well, thanks so much, Brew. Any closing comments other than that?
Yeah, it's just good to sit back and hear. It just brings back a lot of memories, man.
Yeah.
Great. You know, the thing about most people don't understand about war is, I mean, it's a terrible thing, but sometimes it's so funny also.
Yeah. Good people.
Of course, you got to have kind of a warped sense of humor to enjoy it, but...
Yep, that's the military.
Yeah, that's the military, yeah.
Yep. All right. Well, I'll just say then, thanks everybody for watching and hanging with us. And go check out, if you haven't, go check out Brew's other podcasts he did with the Reconnaissance Cast with Bud Gibson and with SOG Cast with Tilt. They are both absolutely worth listening to, and you can learn lots of good stuff and lots of great stories there too. Send any questions that you guys want in the comments as well that maybe might make it into our future interviews and stuff like that. We'd love to get to know what people are interested in and stuff. And also, Brew is frequently active on our Discord and the Questions for Vets channel, which we really, really appreciate. Both you and Don are always in there answering stuff for people, which is great. We just love seeing that interaction. But I'll sign it off there. We'll see you guys next time.
Okay, blessing, brother.